Hi, I'm Jeff, and I have a tip for you. This is a pretty cool example that I ran into on a production line setting, where you would typically have a dashboard like this up on a big screen television. So the idea is that we show data for the last 5 days, we can see our production numbers, and of course blank out the weekends when we weren't working. There's also some interesting things here like days being changed to yesterday and today. So let me show you how to do this in Dundas BI. It's pretty cool. So to start, I created a simple data set just with a manual SQL query so that it returns basically a week's worth of data. And for each of them, you can see that it's actually going to return friendly names for them. So it'll give me yesterday, today, instead of just Monday through Thursday kind of thing. So I'll use that. Another one that I'm going to use is, of course, the data set that has the production data in it. So you can see that for each day, I have 8 hours worth of data and then the production numbers. I didn't end up using this offset. I thought it might be fun. Don't worry about it. So let's get over to the dashboard. First piece you're going to need is that whole friendly name at the top. So if I bring the whole data set in, you can see that it's showing them. Now, this whole sample is going to come down to using tokens. So what you do is bring in the date as a slicer and basically choose the token by clicking the down arrow and today. And for each of these, you kind of do one for each section. So you go advanced, today -1 would be yesterday, -2 the day before. So you'd kind of build this 5 times. So let's just do yesterday so you can see it. So -1 for all the ones I do. So I say okay. You can see that the text is going to show yesterday. And I would turn this into a data label. So style it, put it at the top of the screen, however you want to do it. So next, let's get some data. So in my case, here's that production data that I showed you. Let's bring in each of the hours that we've got. Date is going to be slicer, and then production is going to be the numbers that we use. So what I'm going to do is for that date slicer, just like before, we're going to set it to today, making it an advanced one, and -1. So that's yesterday's data. Now, yesterday, I'm filming this on a Monday, was a Sunday. So I actually don't have data. So if you look back at my sample, the Sunday and the Saturday should have an X going through it, just because we weren't working that day. So how did I do this? Well, I just used a giant state indicator. So if you go to data visualization, add a state indicator, and kind of just make it bigger than what you have on it, the state indicator is going to have very similar data. So let's add our production numbers. Let's add our date into the slicer. And let's set the slicer just like before. So advanced. We're going to do the today slicer, -1. Say okay, so that is now showing data for today. You can see I'm getting a 0. So what I would do is actually create a state. So in our case, choosing production, we would just choose, let's do less than equal to, and I would just say a constant. So let's just say 0. Give it a name, just call it 0, doesn't matter. Click the visual, and you see that when it is in fact 0, it's going to appear as this big red circle. So all I did was I set the state. So you can see that we have different symbols in here. It was just a cross that I had used to kind of exit off. I had done a white background. So you can see that there are properties in here where you can set the background colors, that kind of thing. And the other thing you would do is for the default, so if it's not one of these ones we want to X off, you set the default state just to be something that's not visible. That way it doesn't appear. And that's all it takes to build something like this. Do one of these for each one of those slices. It's a pretty cool sample and really good for television-based displays where you just want to show information for the week. I love it. Hope this helps.